Disclaimer: this video contains spoilers for the Frozen duology, as well as the Frozen short films, Frozen Fever and Olaf's Frozen Adventure. There are time codes in the description if you want to jump around. We good on that? Great! Then let's dive right in. Disney's on the top of the world pre-post Renaissance, and one of their biggest things now is remaking fairy tales. Which led to sort of something new. Boom. The year was late 1937, and Disney was looking into the author and poet Hans Christian Andersen before the release of Snow White. And the biggest thing they were looking into was the Snow Queen. Now, the Snow Queen had already had a few animated adaptations in the early months of the years. There was a plan in the late 80s for an adaptation of the Snow Queen, but that idea was scrapped. But finally, development began. Because one name began to surface: Chris Buck, who co-directed the 1999 film Tarzan. He was thinking about making a movie for himself. And what better than a new film called Frozen? But on December of 2011, Disney's long-term plans were finally revealed, as following the success of Tangled, Disney announced a new title for the film, titled Frozen. This is where it all began. This is how a relatively unknown project became a Disney powerhouse. This is a complete retrospective to the Frozen duology. Casting immediately kicked off, beginning with casting immediately for the title roles of the main cast, with Kristen Bell in the voice of Anna, and Dina Menzel, a singer, as Elsa. But they also casted the younger versions of Anna and Elsa as well, with Ava Bella and Spencer Garnes as a 12-year-old Elsa. The film already had its stars, as more cast members were added. As filming immediately kicked off. The film was still a few ways out. The first film was not meant to come out until 2013. the film wasn't meant to come out until 2013, so. But it was finally in June of 2013 that a full teaser trailer was released online. Just hinting at Olaf and a reindeer. That was it. But that was followed in September of 2013 with a second full trailer. This trailer seemed to show more footage and really showing that this film would work. Frozen had a pretty humorous Super Bowl ad. In fact, Frozen had a humorous Super Bowl ad before the film began. Disney was already confident in this project to hopefully that a sequel would work. But finally, the day arrived. On November 27th, 2013, audiences could journey to theaters for Disney's newest gamble. Now for the main question. Is Frozen good? Yeah, it's very good. Frozen is one of those movies that has to be seen to be believed, and this movie is very good. But with no confirmation on a sequel, Frozen finally fell off the face of the earth. Until revealed that somewhat of a short would be released in front of the 2015 adaptation of Cinderella. But finally, the day arrived on March 13th, 2015. Audiences could journey back to theaters for this. Now, here's the thing. This short was followed by a live-action remake. Yeah. You probably would guess which one was better. If this was a good plot this would make a better plot for a sequel than a short. Not to mention Cinderella's lackluster box office. Not to mention how bad Cinderella's box office was. Disney's live-action remakes were a thing of the past. Disney's live-action remakes were popular, but not as popular to greenlight all of this success. In 2017, another short was scheduled to be released, Olaf's Frozen Adventure, marketed to premiere in front of Coco in theaters. But here's the thing. It was never aired with Coco at all. Yep, Olaf's Frozen Adventure was never aired with Coco. So no one got to see this for themselves. This was aired to a whole runtime, where this could have made a better movie than a short. Which was the case, as it was premiered on ABC, making it a Frozen spin-off. But finally, substantial Frozen news arrived. as it was finally confirmed that a full sequel would happen. To finally continue the story of these characters. To finally continue the story left behind by Frozen 1. The Frozen cast also made a big appearance in Once Upon a Time before it. Taking things in a new direction, Once Upon a Time even got in with the Frozen excitement. Because during the hiatus of Frozen, the fall TV season arrived, and audiences journeyed to ABC for the beginning of Once Upon a Time's 4th season. Okay, this can be saved for a Once Upon a Time Season 4 retrospective, which I will be doing. Yep, I've already hinted at my next retrospective after this one. You're getting a lot of retrospectives this year since it's my birthday month on April 30th. So this month will be my longest month for retrospectives. Possibly followed sometime this week will be the Once Upon a Time Season 4 retrospective. Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee both returned to the director's chair, with many of the original film stars returning to reprise their roles. There was only one thing. There was one problem. Hans was nowhere to be found, hinting that a new villain would take on this movie's main antagonist role. Right after filming, audiences began to get antsy. But when would audiences see some footage? Well, there was some footage in the DVD releases of both Zootopia and Moana, two of 2016's biggest heavy hitters. But none of that footage was glared on the outside. A matter of fact, no footage from Frozen 2 was gleaned by the outside public. That wasn't before February 13th rolled around, where audiences were finally given a first look at Frozen 2 as it was almost CinemaCon season, baby! Finally, CinemaCon season was right around the corner. Frozen 2 wouldn't have its hands full. Because on February 13th, 2019, audiences got their first look at Frozen 2 in the form of a teaser trailer. And this teaser trailer spoils not a lot of the movie. This teaser trailer clocks in at 2 minutes, giving us not much to go on. Just a valet opening for Frozen in front of big blockbuster action, in front of some action set pieces. This teaser was possibly the teaser shown at CinemaCon, But I'm thinking some new footage was gleaned. Footage that would not be available to the outside world. A matter of fact, it was possibly not until, boom, a new theatrical poster was released online. All to kick off the final marketing push towards Frozen 2 in a big way. Beginning with, boom, a new full-length trailer was released online. This trailer hinted more at the movie's action set pieces and big blockbuster action that would appear. But it was all leading up to another full trailer in September, this time to dial up movie marketing and begin ticket sales. Because right after this second trailer was released, tickets went on sale. Oh boy, tickets are now on sale, and the biggest seats on opening weekend who liked the first movie went off the shelves fast. But finally, the day arrived, November 22nd, 2019. And, well, I saw this actually on January 1st, 2020. But audiences could journey to theaters for what promised to be the most hotly anticipated release of 2019. Now, this would have been the biggest blockbuster anticipation of 2019 if it wasn't for Star Wars at the end of the year, and Avengers Endgame in April. If this movie would have been the most hotly anticipated movie of 2019 if it wasn't for, one, Avengers Endgame in April, and two, Star Wars at the end of the year. So, pretty much. This Frozen 2 picks up roughly 2 years after the first film. Anna and Elsa's hearing visions of something. As this movie just retraces beats from the original. Well, some of it anyway. But audiences went away fine. But let's see how the box office... Repeat of history! Yep, Frozen, in another repeat of history, broke box office records. Frozen 2 was another Frozen movie to crack $1 billion. And with clever setup for a third installment, audiences only had to wait. And they waited. And waited until no sequel was gleaned. Could it be that Frozen 2 ended the story? Could Frozen remain a duology? Nah, it didn't remain a duology. The year is 2025, and Frozen's story is not over by a long shot. Frozen 3 was immediately revealed to finally happen. Because mid last year, we were given the news that Frozen 3 would happen. Followed by some other stuff followed with news that Frozen 4, following that this film would be a three-parter, would be a two-parter. Now, why was Frozen 3 rescheduled? Because the original release date plans were November 2026. Well, my prediction is it has to do with an undisclosed project. A project that I may have a prediction about. I may already have a theory what delayed Frozen 2. Because on November 25th of this year, of next year, an untitled project is revealed. And I'll see you guys later.